Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Eddie G, with another Photoshop tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to make a text layer look like a neon sign for any project that you're working on, so your final document will look just like this. Okay guys, in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to take text and make it look like a tubular neon sign. So of course, we need a new document to do that, so I've already got one created here, and it's 1920 by 1080 because I like to work in the standard high definition size. So obviously, if we're talking about a neon sign, we need something to hang our neon sign on. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in an image that I edited earlier, and it's just a nice, grainy, kind of darkish brick wall, because I think a neon sign looks really, really great hung on a brick wall. So obviously in this video, I'm showing you how to convert a text into a tubular neon sign. So first and foremost, we need some text. So I'm going to come over here and grab the text tool, and I'm just going to type in the word neon. So we're going to go ahead and get this centered up here. Now the font that I'm using here is Arial Rounded MT Bold. Now the reason I chose this font is it already has a tubular and nice round shape, which I think in the end effect is going to give it a nice look. But obviously we just got some white text on a brick wall that doesn't look all that great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to double click on the icon for the neon layer, and I'm going to make it a nice bright pink. So now we've got a neon pink neon font layer. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my layers, and I'm going to right click on that, and I'm going to duplicate that layer. So I have three layers going right here. I've got my first layer, which is the brick wall background. I've got my original neon font layer, and the one that I just duplicated, which is now the neon copy. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the bottom neon layer off and just work with the neon copy layer. So the first thing that I want to do to this is I want to make it look more like tubes. So you know how a neon sign has that tubular look? That's what we're going to do, but we're going to do it in the layer styles of this font layer. So I'm going to come out here to this open area of the layer and double click on that, and that's going to bring up our layer style window. So how are we going to make this look like tubes? I'm going to come down here and I'm going to give this layer the layer style of an inner glow. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have your blend mode set to normal, and you want to make sure that your actual inner glow is set to white. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to mess with the opacity to see where we can set it to actually make it look more tubular. Now obviously the lower we go, the less we see of the inner glow white. So I'm just going to bring this up until it looks like a tube. That's a little far. I like it right about there. So we're going to leave that set at 45% on the opacity. I'm going to leave the noise set to 0, because you can see if I turn the noise up, it gets really, really grainy, and it's away from that tubular effect we're looking for. So in this middle section of the inner glow, you want to make sure that your technique is actually set to softer, and the source is set to center. The next thing we're going to set is the choke. Now the choke is actually going to tell the layer style how thin or how thick it needs to be. So I like it about the 50%. That's a little much. So I'm going to come down here and maybe set it to about 40% on the choke. Now the size is set to 30, and I actually like that. So you can actually already see it's starting to look more tubular instead of just a flat font style. So I'm going to come down here to the range, and I'm going to start to play with that. So it's set to 100%. But see, the lower that you go, the more that it loses that tubular effect style that we're going for. So I'm going to jack this all the way back up to 100%. Now, I'm going to move this out of the way a little bit so you can actually see our font is actually becoming more tubular in nature. So I like that look right there. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. So now I'm going to turn the neon copy layer off that we just set the inner glow on, and I'm going to work with the bottom neon layer. So what we're going to do here is we're going to set the outer glow. So this is actually what's going to make it look like it's glowing just like a neon sign. So again, I'm going to double click out here in this empty portion of the font layer, and it's going to bring up my layer style window again, and we're going to click on outer glow. Now again, I want to set my blend mode to normal, and I'm going to start messing with the opacity. So again, I want to come in here, and if you bring the opacity down, the actual quote-unquote glow of this outer glow gets less. So if I take it really, really high, it starts to look fuzzy and really loses the effect that I'm looking for. So I'm going to bring this down, 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 and actually like it right about there. So that's 65% on the opacity. So I'm going to leave that set to there. And again, I'm going to leave the noise set to 0 because it won't have the effect that we're looking for the final project. And just like in the inner glow, we want to set our technique to softer, but we're going to leave the spread set to 0 because if you start to jack up the spread, it really loses the effect and it just doesn't look good. So I'm going to leave that spread set to 0. The size is actually how far the outer glow is going to go. So if I start to really move this up, again, it doesn't look like a real neon sign. So I'm going to bring this back down to around where it was, right around 40%. So we're going to set that to 40 pixels. Now I'm going to come down here to the quality, and on the range, again, this is going to be the percentage of how far or how narrow that outer glow is actually going to look. So drag that up a bit. I like that 60% right there. Now the jitter, you can mess around with this to your liking. I'm actually going to turn it all the way up to 100%. I really like the way that looks because it's got a nice glow on the outside. So I really like this. We can come up here and mess with the blend mode some more. So if you want to come up here and look at it and make it just dissolve, that doesn't look good. If you want to make it normal, which I have it set to, and I think it gives it the best look. So we're actually looking pretty good here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. Now we've got the outer glow. Now that looks good, but watch what happens when I turn on my inner glow layer. It just gives it that pop. It actually looks like a tubular neon sign glowing across this brick wall. Now we could actually end the tutorial right here because it looks like a glowing tubular neon sign of hot pink. But I don't like the way it doesn't pop off that brick wall. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're actually going to do another layer. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab my brush tool, make sure it's set to the same color as our text, and I'm going to give it a nice big brush. So we're going to do about 300 pixels. And what I'm actually going to do is just paint over this neon. Just like that. And I know it looks bad and it's like, Eddie, what are you doing? You're ruining the neon sign that you just made. But watch what happens when I paint this all in and I come over here to the layer style. Instead of normal, I'm going to set this to soft light. And look how it starts to pop off that brick wall. Now, obviously, it's still a little bright, so you can come over here and mess with the opacity. You can bring it down, bring it down, bring it down until you get to the look that you like. And I like it right about here at about 45%. So I'm going to leave it set to that. So as you can see now, it's really popping off that brick wall, just like a neon sign would reflect its light back off whatever it's hung on. So if I actually turn that layer off, that soft light layer that we just did, you can see how it looks flat. And if I turn it back on, it actually looks like the neon pink sign is glowing off of that brick wall. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.